Dominic Ingle, thank you for talking to FrankWarren.tv. Before we get on to Kell Brook, who's making the second defence of his British welterweight title, a little bit about this amazing gym you have here. I said to Kell just a few minutes ago, I've never seen so many boxers, young and old, in such a small area. I mean, how have you got it? Is it just that it's got that reputation and people know champions are here?
It's been the same for the last 30 years. It's always started in. It's probably only the gym in the country where kids at maybe 10 and 11 who are starting out in the game can access kids who are champions like Kell, junior weighter Johnny Nelson, and it gives them the inspiration to realise that they can achieve the same kind of thing. So, you know, we could quite easily close the gym just to professionals, but we don't. We'd like to bring everybody through, and they all develop in phases. You know, I can remember Kell being 9 years old, stood at the side of the ring watching Nazim Mohammed on the pads, a little fat kid, and you think, well, is he going to stick it another 2 years, another 3 years? Is he going to become a professional? And obviously he has. And that's the motivation behind the whole gym. It's not just about the champions, it's about all the kids and making them realise what they can achieve, you know, if they decide to take and follow the path in boxing.
Do you almost become a victim of your own success because you have so many people? You could almost do with 4 or 5 other coaches out there.
Yeah, but we've got it well. You know, there's my dad, there's me, there's a couple of the guys in the gym who train people, and we've got it all scheduled. You know what I mean? We've got it all under control, and we just keep rolling the kids out. You know, over the years we've had so many British champions, so many European champions, and so many world champions, and we do it full time. You know, we all live within 5 minutes of the gym. And it's a case of walking across the road, and we're in his place of work, and it's a full-time thing, and you've got to be committing yourself full-time to get the results that we've actually had.
Just the one ring in the gym, but the floor looks very organised with lots of colours and lines. I'm sure people who are listening to this right now would have watched the other videos on the website and seen that the floor has lots of tram lines and different colours and circles. What does it all mean?
You tend to find a lot of kids who get into boxing. What we've found over the years is that they have a lot of difficulty focusing and concentrating on what they're actually doing. It attracts that type of kid. Yeah. And that's actually now a painting to design the floor area, and it's called the Magic Circles. And what it does, it develops your footwork, your coordination, your time, and everything else. And you know, we've got the floor area, which is quite a big floor area. You'll probably find in most gyms you don't get that, but in our gym, it's all about footwork and movement and coordination. And as far as the ring's concerned, where the ring is, that's the place where everybody wants to be, and you've got to earn your place to get into that ring. You can't just jump up. You know, if you want to get in and spar with the likes of Junior, Kell, and them type of guys, you've got to work your way into the ring. And people stand on that floor, they do the footwork, they're watching the ring, they're watching what's going off, and their ambition in boxing, or when they first start off, is to try and make the way into that ring, to be good enough to get into that ring to spar with those guys. So it motivates them to get up onto the platform.
Talking of the ring, I think quite unusually, you had 3 pairs of boxers in there at the time. So you had, 6 boys working out, sparring against each other as well at the same time. Is that just about conservation of space, or is it something else as well?
It is about conservation of space, but it's also about being able to work within a limited amount of area. And you find when you're stepping backwards and there's somebody behind you, you get a good sense of where you are in the ring. And when you first get in that ring and spar and you're not used to it, you're stumbling over people, you're falling over people, but as the more you do it, you realise you get a wider vision of the ring, almost an extra sensory perception in a way, that you can see. It develops your peripheral vision. You know where people are about you, even though you can't see them. And that's, people talk about Nazim Mohammed when he used to be able to avoid shots. It was because shots were coming from all angles. You might be sparring with one guy, but somebody might throw a shot at the side of you, what's coming your way, and you automatically just duck out of the way. So it develops everything, it's not just about conservation of space.
To Kell Brook, I spoke to Kell just now and I said, what did your man Dominic Ingle say to you after the devastating 2 minutes with Kevin McIntyre last fight? And he said, Dom doesn't say very much, but I know he's happy to twinkle in his eye. Tell us, what did you think about that performance?
What I actually said to Kell is that's probably the worst thing that could have happened to you in a fight, because he'd put 14 weeks into training and it was all over in 2 minutes. It was really a bit of an anticlimax. Once the referee stopped the fight, you have a moment of elation, then it's like, is that it? You want to go out when you've trained for that amount of time. You want to go in the ring and bash them up for 5 or 6 rounds. And I says, in a way, it's the worst thing that can happen, because maybe you'll start thinking it's going to be that easy, and it's easy because you've trained hard, you've put the time in. And, you know, train hard, fight easy. If you want to have a hard fight, you know, don't train. Don't make the weight properly. Don't do as you're told and go and have a war. It's entertaining for TV, but if you want a clean, clinical finish like he did, you know, do as you're told.
It's very difficult though, isn't it? Because you train the boxer to be that good. You train them to be that clinical. But then if they are that good and that clinical, how do you keep them remembering they're only that good because of the work they put in?
Sometimes you have to bring them back down to earth, you know, get them on a bad day or train them a different way, train them hard so they're tired and make them realise that they're not, you know, they're not immortal, that they're just human beings like everybody else. But the thing is with Kell, he's 22 years old, he's got everything in front of him, and as long as he does as he's told and does his training, he's got a fantastic future in boxing.
Do you see Stuart Elwell on Friday the 30th of January causing Kell any problems?
You can never underestimate an opponent. I mean, the worst thing to do is to do that. You know, you look back through history of bad fighters underestimating fighters. Muhammad Ali against Joe Frazier in the last fight. You know, Muhammad Ali thought it was going to be an easy fight, and it was probably one of the hardest fights of his career. And it's same with Kell. Even though he may think that, you know, he's trained 100%. To beat Stuart Elwell and beat him in style, and it's not going to be an easy fight. Stuart Elwell's the underdog. It's his big chance. It's his moment of glory, and you know, everybody's expecting him to lose and to lose quite easily. And sometimes that's one of the greatest motivators when you're boxing.
No pun intended here, but how special is Kell?
Yeah, he's a special kid in the fact that he's managed to stick with boxing from being a young kid. And avoid all most of the pitfalls, you know, through his teenage years, and he's come through. And you know, he has got the ability, he has got a talent, but just like anybody else, you've got to work at it. You can't just wake up every morning and think, you know, I'm blessed with that, and it's always going to be there. Because one day you're going to wake up and it's not. You're going to have to work. You have to work every moment of your career.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you very much.